Good afternoon, bloomers and friends. It's Russ. I'm behind the camera today, and I'm here with Curtis and Dave at their place out in Cathedral City. And we're going to do a Meet the Bloomers today, and today we're going to meet Curtis and Dave. So, Curtis and Dave, tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Well, I grew up in Waco, Texas, went to Baylor University, and after finishing college, I decided it was time to make a career decision. I'd always been fascinated with radio. My grandmother had a radio show called The Flower Lady. People would send in their questions about tulips, roses, all kinds of flowers, and she would tell them how to take care of the garden and what have you. So I would always go to the radio station with her when she taped her show, and really enjoyed that. I was very intrigued by the art of broadcasting. So I spent a 35-year career in radio stations from San Francisco to Los Angeles to Chicago, New York. I traveled all over the place. Being a native Texan who'd never left the borders of Texas until he was an adult, it was quite an experience for me to be able to visit all these towns and live in them and enjoy their culture and style. I finally decided that I'd had enough of radio. My mother was getting very ill. So I decided, as the eldest of 3 children by 8 years, that I would go back to Waco, retire early, and just enjoy life and try to take care of her. So I got involved with a public television station there in Waco, and each year they had an auction. And part of the prizes for this auction were autographed portraits of athletes and movie stars and things like that. And there was this framing company in Waco that would take care of all the framing of these pictures and portraits and what have you. And when I went there the very first time to deliver some of these to be framed, the owner, John Orr, came up to me and said, "May I help you?" And you could tell from the gleam in his eye that he was a sister. So I said, "Yes, I can."
Sister Mister.
I brought these to be framed. So he said, "Sure, I'll be happy to help you." I said, "You know, I've got a friend that I think you'd really like to meet." I said, "Really?" I thought this was kind of odd since I was now approaching my late 50s, and the idea of starting a new life with a new lover going on 60 years old in Waco, Texas seemed very remote, because Texas is a very conservative state, and Waco even more so. We call Waco the buckle of the Bible Belt. You get an idea of what I was operating under. So at any rate, 2 years later, Kurt and I finally do get together. He came to see me perform in a musical HMS Pinafore, and he suggested that he and I and the 2 friends he was with go out and have a piece of pie. So we went to Marie Callender's and sat down, him next to me, and John and Parker were sitting opposite us. And so the waitress came by and she said, "What kind of get for you?" And Kurt said, "I'll have a piece of rhubarb pie." Well, I don't know what hit me at that moment, but that was exactly what I was going to order, which is not a very ordinary order.
No, not at all.
And so I ordered my rhubarb pie and thought, you know, there may be something going on here. I'm just going to relax and let go and see what happens. Well, 19 years later, we're still together and very much in love.
Huh.
And we've made several moves since then. We've changed houses several times. The best move we made was here in Palm Springs.
Awesome.
We love Palm Springs.
Curtis, tell me, what was your first impression of Dave when you met him?
Oh, that was wonderful. I thought I want to get to know that man better. And it was funny because we knew of each other really for a couple of years, and I got involved with the Civic Theater in Waco, and came to find out that Dave was by that time on the board of directors of the Civic Theater. So I was in a play, came to see it, and it was okay, you know, we had some conversation, and by the time I went to see his play, I was working in the store where said friend had set us up 2 years before. And so we connected then, and that's when I said, well, you're in this, well, we're going to come see your show, and then we'll go out after that. And then we just, everything kind of like snowballed after that, because I think we were living together within a month.
Wow. Yeah. So Curtis, tell us a little bit about where you come from and your journey up into the point that you met Dave.
Well, I'm originally from California. I grew up in the South Bay, so San Pedro, LA Harbor area is my hometown. And I went to college up in San Francisco and then wound up living up there for about 9 years. And then the opportunity came, my mother is from Waco, Texas, and when her parents had passed away, they had a bunch of rental property, and Mom had moved out here in the 50s and she wouldn't go back to Texas, so she said, how would you like to go back and take care of all this? So I wound up going back, and so I had been there, I got there in the early 90s, and we met in 2000, so I'd been there for a while. And, I had become, my version of a Texan. And once we got together, we just kind of felt like, well, we would just be there for the count. And 2 years ago, my mom was out visiting, and it just came up, the idea of us moving back to California, and I said, I've really wanted to do that.
She would visit us from Rialto, where she was currently living.
Mm-hmm. And so once I said that, it was like, well, how can we make this happen? And then that started to snowball, and within 4 months we had sold our house in Waco and actually bought something online.
Wow.
Which fell through before we even left, so we got out here and had to start all over again.
Wow.
There are a couple of funny stories I've got to tell you. We're moving ahead pretty fast here. I just got to tell you these two stories. First story is that Kurt and I really hit it off on the telephone. We were really enjoying each other's company and getting to know about each other. And all of a sudden I hear beep, 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 beep in the background. And Kurt says, let me call you back. Well, I waited 15 minutes. I waited 30 minutes. I thought, gee, I hope nothing's wrong. So I called. He said, I'm glad you called. I just got finished putting out the fire.
I decided to deep fry some beignets, and then I lit the cabinets all on fire.
Oh my gosh.
So we had charred cabinets to the point that people thought it was the latest trend. So I thought that was a very funny story. The second story that I wanted to tell was one that I can't remember now. Do you remember a good story about it? Oh, what I wanted to say was, I think one of the secrets of our success this time around, because 19 years is a real record for me. I think the first year we had an engagement. I asked Kurt if he would be my husband. And so we got engaged. We had an engagement ceremony. And then that was for a year. And then after the year, we decided to get married as we could get.
Holy Union.
Holy Union. So we had a beautiful Holy Union. Lots of our friends came, and all the parents were there. My mother was the only one of my parents living. And she came and supported us, and it was very touching to see her there. Mm-hmm. We stayed that way until, I guess we got married Texas-wise first. Well, California-wise?
California in 2008. The 4-month window before Prop 8 went through. So
we snuck that through real quickly.
Yeah, we came out for a visit in the summer and had our immediate family wedding out on the coast, right by where Marine Land used to be.
Oh, nice. I know where that is. So we were talking about
getting married in Texas.
I
want to tell you the story about
reception or a wedding out where Marine World used to be.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
There was a lighthouse out that you could see.
Yeah, it was real pretty.
It was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Great backdrop. At any rate, the final time we got married was in Texas, and we did that just for spite.
Just so they had to record our nuptials.
One of the unusual pieces of jewelry we wear is we wear all 3 rings, which we had bonded together. So we got the Holy Union ring, we got the Texas ring,
Texas
Valley
ring,
ring.
California ring.
Nice.
So we can't get any more. Won't be able to bend our knuckle.
That's right. Absolutely.
So
Well, let's take a look at that ring. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Just give me a second here. Very nice.
take a moment to be hand models.
Yeah. Well, now, how did you folks find Bloom?
Well, once I realized that we were moving back out here, we had been involved in several different faith communities. When we got together, I had started becoming a part of the MCC Church in Waco, and was with them for probably 12 years or so. And then I got involved with a group that was just a real intentional community around working with the poor, and working in a small community area, and then also working for a nursery school that the church had. So
Denomination has not meant very much to you. You've been more into the spiritual aspect of your life, rather than belonging to a particular religion, so to speak. And one of the things I think that has impressed us both is how universal the United Church of Christ in the form of Bloom in the Desert has made to us. Like Kurt said, we were in the Metropolitan Community Church, then we were at the Unitarian Universalist Church.
yeah, I'd gotten involved with that other community, and that was kind of my primary church, but then also the Unitarian Fellowship out there had been so supportive for the gay and lesbian community, and we started attending there kind of in the last year before we came out here.
We had our Holy Union there.
Yeah, in the facility, right. And I think before we came out here, I looked up to see if there was a UCC church, because my parents had been UCC back in Long Beach. If there was an MCC, and also if there was a UU. So there was all three, and we thought at the time, okay, well, we'll just visit all of them and see what sticks. And we wound up going to Bloom first, and just enjoyed the experience so much, and felt such a warm reception that we thought, well, this will work. We'll just stay here.
The extravagant welcome really worked for us.
Yeah. And
Nice.
it happened that we did visit the Unitarian Fellowship, and they were a great bunch of people. We'd already kind of started to just get involved with Bloom,
Right.
and volunteer, like Well in the Desert and the choir, and so we were happy with the relationship we were already establishing with Bloom. So I think that sealed the deal for us.
Nice.
We found this beautiful place to live.
Mm-hmm.
And
Really happy.
of course, it didn't hurt that the weather forecast for Dallas and vicinity for the next 2 years was either too hot or too darn cold.
Yeah. So now let me ask you, what has Bloom inspired in you?
I would say for myself, this year has been kind of a big evolution for me. I grew up in the church, and I've come to a place where I very much appreciate and enjoy the community aspect, community of caring, and looking out for the least of these. As far as the kind of the Christian story, the Christian mythology, that doesn't mean quite as much for me, but people coming together to care about each other, that is the crux of what's really important. And the fact that, there's a wonderful music program, Dave loves to sing, I'm so happy for that. And like I said before, the volunteering with the Well, even though I'm not doing that now, I appreciate that that's important to the church. And that was one of the big deciding things with Bloom too. It was like, I went to the Well in the Desert website, and I thought, who are some of the church community supporters? And Bloom was the only one that I found on there, the three that I was looking at. So I thought, Well, I like that. They put their action where the words are. So that was good and very helpful in making the decision.
And Rev Kev has just been a real inspiration to us as well. We've each had our conversations with him in private to talk about our various positions in our spiritual journey. And he's been very supportive, and we just love him. And he and Michael just deserve each other because they're both beautiful people. So that's an inspiration.
Yes.
Another inspiration is the form that the service takes. There's a lot of singing, familiar songs. They have excellent musician that accompanies the congregation. Everybody chips in to have a wonderful potluck following the church service. And if you find a better place to eat Sunday afternoon, I'd like to know where it is. But I think that's really sums it up in a nutshell, is that Bloom in the Desert truly is a bloom in our desert. I came from a pray it away kind of growing up, because I found out, discovered my gayness early on in life. I was probably about 10 or 11 years old. And back in the 60s, remember, it was considered a mental illness.
Yes,
So-
I remember.
I decided that maybe I should join the church. So I was training to be an Episcopalian priest. And then I met with the bishop of the diocese about 2 years into my education. And the minister told me that the bishop had told him that he didn't think I would be right for the clergy, that I should try to look for the laity. And it was just the most crushing thing to me. And I quit going to church for a long time. And really not until I got back with Curtis did I decide to give it a try again. And things had
Wow.
changed so dramatically,
Yes.
particularly with Bloom in the Desert. I mean, I couldn't believe that a minister was standing and telling the congregation, if you're gay, you're still welcome here. That's an awfully stunning thing to hear from someone who's been mistreated by a church.
I think that's one of the biggest pieces of the attraction for Bloom too. Not just for myself, but what it stands for the greater community. I want there to be a place for people to come where it's safe and where it can be whatever they need it to be. They can heal from either bad theology, bad treatment, or they can just be in the midst of a loving community, you know? All of the things in Christianity don't mean the same things to me anymore, but love, very apparent love, is very important to me. Like Galatians 5:22, all those signs of the Spirit, that's all just as important to me as it ever was.
Yeah. But the message is the greatest message of all that we get from the Bible is love. That's to me, that's what it's all about. When you get to the last chapter and verse, it all can be boiled down to love and peace. And I think Bloom has a unique way of assuring that environment is always created by being purposeful in their inclusion and calling it out every single Sunday. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, brown, yellow, whatever. It doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, trans, cisgender, golfer, disabled. It doesn't matter. You are welcome here. Our motto is, we welcome all who welcome all.
Exactly. I think that's the best statement of faith that there could be.
Yes.
I mean, that, and wherever you are on life's journey, you're welcome here.
Yeah.
That, to me, means more than anything. And the fact that, how many churches in your history and in your background can you think of where people from other religions or no religion feel at welcome
Yes.
and at peace there.
Yes.
And that's huge.
That's a
one of the biggest,
testament.
one of the biggest components of my love for the congregation.
Yeah, and I think there are a lot of bloomers that would say exactly what you've just said. Those are key, for lack of a better word, they are key things that draw people to bloom. That I can honestly say it's not anything that I've ever seen at any other church I've been to. And I love the fact that we don't claim to be an LGBT church.
No.
We're just a church of all the alphabet. And that's the beautiful thing about it. But it's a unique and beautiful place. And as you put it, Dave, they are our bloom in the desert. So, guys, I want to thank you for joining me today. It's been wonderful having this conversation and getting to learn more about you. And 19 years is a long time. I know, because Steve and I met in 2000 as well, and we're coming up on 20 years just like you guys are. So,
Awesome.
and it's something we never thought that we would have. So it's wonderful when we have someone, for those of us that are serial monogamous, have someone that we can spend the rest of our lives with, and it's wonderful that the two of you have found each other and that you have found Bloom. We are blessed with your presence as part of Bloom. We're blessed with Dave's voice singing and just all the many things that Curtis does for Bloom with the setup every morning. So thank you guys for being a part of this today. And folks, we will be having Sunday service this Sunday at 10 a.m. and we would love to see you there. If you can't be with us in person, be with us in spirit, and as always, keep us in your prayers as we keep you in ours. Thank you, God bless, and blessings to you. Bye-bye.